Hello and welcome to ThinkShare. My name's Zach, here to bring what I've been thinking about, sharing about, talking about, listening to, reading about that doesn't belong in math class. If you're new to the channel, I invite you to subscribe. I just explained to the people on the Zachary Watson channel that I'm going to be answering three main questions. I'm sure it will develop from there, but the three main questions I wanted to address are: one, am I planning on having kids? Two, what are my thoughts on homeschooling? And three, how should or how do teachers address self-harm? And those are the questions that came up last night as I talked about watching 13 Reasons Why and why I think teachers should consider doing that. So I'll start out with this. I'm gonna, on the Zachary Watson channel, I'm gonna answer the first one, and then I'm gonna send you guys over to the ThinkShare. Again, the description, the link is in the description below. So first off, yes, I do plan on having kids. My wife and I met back in 2013, and I proposed after about exactly 93 days. And one of the things that we discussed along the way was that we did want to have children. We're thinking probably two, maybe three. You know, every once in a while, Alyssa's actually had a dream where she, I don't want to call it a nightmare, but I think she might have it feel like a nightmare. Like maybe we have one or two, and then we're ready for maybe a third, and then she gets triplets or something. So she's had that somewhat scary dream before. We don't want to have like a giant family. In the wise words of one of my really good friends, Zach, back in college, he said, "I want to have like 10 kids because everywhere you go, it's a party." And I don't know that he would agree with his old self back when he was 20 or 21 years old. But yeah, so yes, we do plan on having kids. Probably, I think we're thinking maybe the next like 5 years or so. We're both in our late 20s. I turned 28 in like 2.5 months or so, and she turns 28 in August. So we'll be, you know, I don't know if I'd call it the sweet spot, but it's definitely the point at which you got to start making life choices, especially if you're with your partner. So for those that are on the Zachary Watson channel, I'm going to actually refer you over to the ThinkShare. Yeah, the link is in the description below. Thank you for watching on the Zachary Watson channel. I'm going to continue on the ThinkShare. All right. So question 2, what are my thoughts on homeschooling? So someone asked the other night about homeschooling, and I think there's some benefits, and there's probably also some drawbacks to it. And to be honest, I couldn't really tell you which one is necessarily better. One thing I could tell you though is okay, that worked out. One thing I could tell you though is I feel like one of the people I usually refer to when I'm considering who's been successful in homeschooling is Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow is homeschooled. As you know, he's pretty religious. He's very faithful to his religion, and I think it actually serves him really well. For those that don't know who Tim Tebow is, he's arguably the most famous backup quarterback of all time. Back in like 2013 or 2012, it was debated what team he would play for, and he was a 2-time Heisman Trophy winner, and the Heisman Trophy is for the best college football player in America, and he won it 2 years in a row, which I believe he's the only player to ever do that. So that's one thing I will say is homeschooling. He was a product of that. So I think some of the powerful things that could come from homeschooling, and I have no experience with them, but just as a teacher and someone that you know, I see that the way that schools as a system work, I can see some potential drawbacks. I think the advantage to homeschooling could be you have a better idea of the influences that you'll have with your students or your children. The other thing is you can always hire tutors. I mean, you'd have to have enough money to afford that. But at the same time, if you have the money to afford tutors and you can choose the people that are influencing your children more so than you can by sending them to public school every day, that might be to your benefit. You might be really protective over what type of people your children interact with, and that could be a huge advantage. And by the way, I will start coming into the chat soon. I see you guys are blowing it up. Thank you for being so active, and I'm not going to apologize for not hitting yet, but I'll get there. So yeah, that's one thing, is you have a bit more of an advantage of controlling the environment. But then again, question is, how much do you want to control the environment of your children? I think I imagine my perspectives will probably change when I have my first child and we're looking at school and stuff. But at the moment, I would say I would want to control some of it, because I don't want to be a control freak. And at the same time, I think there's a lot of opinions out there that are very damaging. And I think there's a certain age at which they can really think for themselves. And I would want them to branch out and not just be around us. But at the same time, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So if I don't know if it's egotistical to think that I would want my kids to be the average of me, and I would want them to grow to be awesome people that probably think like me. Saying that out loud sounds weird. I don't know what to say about what just came out of my mouth. I mean, I figure all parents kind of want their children to be a bit like them. They don't have to be a teacher. They don't have to want to have a YouTube channel. They don't have to be straight. I want them to be themselves. I want them to find what works for them, find what drives them in life. And the question is whether public schooling or charter schooling, if that'll get the job done. I think currently in a lot of public schools, there's a huge drive to go to college. And I don't know if I would drive my child to go to college. I would drive them to pursue things that give them life experience and identity capital. Identity capital being things you can sort of add to your resume that make you sort of interesting, that make you a person of value when you come into any environment. And I just got to plug in my laptop. Sorry. Identity capital for me is like, I started this YouTube channel. That's identity capital for me. Working at 2 other jobs with totally different demographics, that's identity capital. Being an engineer for 2 years at a tech company and software developing, that's part of my identity capital. If you studied abroad, if you did interesting projects, if you made a movie, if you did art, if you wrote a book, that's all identity capital. So I would want my children to do whatever is going to develop them, to give them the most opportunities available to them. For example, I would say, if you're really good at math and you're going to college and you think you want to do business, but you think you could do engineering, I would say do engineering, honestly, because I think that you have more opportunities available to you. And if turns out you like it, you'll be more equipped. I would say that there's a lot of skills you have in engineering that you'll also use in business. If you can handle the engineering curriculum, I would invite and challenge my children and anyone listening to me as a mentor that wants to be like me. I would challenge them to get into engineering instead of business. I suppose I have a little bit of a bias against business students, as back when I went to UMass Amherst, me and 4 other engineers, we're all industrial engineers, senior year, we wanted to take a business class for supply chain management. And we all went over it was a 500 level class. It was a graduate class. We went over there, and we far outperformed all the other business majors in the class. We actually broke the curve. Like one of the first tests that they had for us, the average in the I know this is kind of bragging, but this is just the training that we got as engineers. First test we took, the average was like a 60 something, and we all got mid to high 90s. So people didn't get the scale they wanted because 3 engineers went into the business school. Even though, supply chain management is pretty much supposed to be very similar to industrial engineering. Before I jump, I probably have a little bit more to say on homeschooling. I want to look at the chat first, and then I'll look at the other question about self-harm. So I'm going to say hi to a bunch of the people. Hello, Skylar and Friends. Skylar and Friends, for those that don't know, I interviewed the other day. His channel is growing quite a bit. He's up to 90 subscribers, I believe. He just did a live stream. I'm proud of him for stepping outside his comfort zone and building that. I'd love to see him hit 100. If anyone's interested in a channel that has wiener dogs, he just finished writing a book and is working on the publishing aspect of it. He does balloon animals. And he has a really great story about how he kind of fell in love with his dogs and how they've contributed to his life as well as they've contributed to his life. And so if you're interested in a story like that, Skylar and Friends is the place to go. Hello, PokeGrow Bros. What are you doing this summer? I'll add that on to the end. Abstract Possibilities. Hello. For anyone that is interested in seeing someone that is creating art daily, Abstract Possibilities, I'm not sure if, I forget if you also do sort of tutorials, but I know you do a lot of like, you're doing it on camera. And she has a really great story for why she created her channel. Hello, Sleep Master. It's good to see you from yesterday's chat. I hope, forget the name of the person. There's someone that answered your question. I hope that helped you out. Gemma Grace, I'm going to be having onto the channel soon. We're looking at possibly Saturday. Gemma is in the UK. She has autism and she speaks a bit about challenges that she goes through, as well as developing people's awareness around autism, how to work with, talk with. I know she's done a couple of videos on like some of the tactile things that she uses. So for anyone that's looking for a YouTuber to look up to that has autism, talks about it, she's a great person to go to. Kyan Young, I'm gay. Kyan, are you coming out on the chat right now? Hey, I have a question for myself. How can I come out bisexual to my mom? I have a question for myself. We'll look at that in a little bit. I want to just address some of the people. I came into didn't care. It's my life. They said they didn't care. Jada Wish. Hello, Jaylene's Edits. Dakota. Hi, darling. Hello. Michelle invites you all to wake up and live. My friend had 2 and then had quadruplets. Oh my goodness. Michelle's commenting on the part I said earlier about having triplets. So for those of you that don't know, Michelle invites you to wake up and live. Her name is Michelle. She's a mother. She is a teacher as well. She talks, the other night she was talking about chakras. She's a bit spiritual in nature, I would say. And she is also a YouTuber. I'm having a hard time recalling if she does daily videos, but it's either daily or very close to daily. So if you're looking for sort of a very mother-like figure that you want to learn from, that you want to learn spirituality, mindfulness, those type of things, she's your person. Red X is Skull Crusher. Hello. Hey, Zach, how have you been? I have been in better times. Sorry to hear that, Red X is Skull Crusher. My invitation for you would be to look at whatever it is that you're going through right now. How is it going to make you stronger and a better version of yourself tomorrow? Red X's Skull Crusher is a former student, and they have their own YouTube channel. They create a variety of different videos, a couple things with digital art, and they're working on, from what I understand, they're working on some bigger, better things as well. Skylar friend and PokeGrow. PokeGrow was, I promise I'll answer it before the stream's over. Hey guys, I'm a lesbian. I came out today. Congratulations, Diana. Yes. I'm curious. I'm sure I'll find it in the chat afterwards because I'm a bit behind, but I look forward to hearing out. Maybe we could have your story on one of these days. But that's really glad to hear. I'm curious if it's the parents, if it's your friends, if it's to all the people in your school, etc., or how old you are. I'm assuming you're from LA, given that it looks like you have an LA Kings logo. Homeschooling is good for students who are getting bullied. Gemma Grace, I would agree with that, as well as I would say students that are getting bullied. I think that if you shy them away and bring them into a homeschooling situation, I would be fearful. Like if one of my students, my children were in school, which again, I don't have children yet, but if I had children in school getting bullied and I were to bring them out and homeschool them, I would be afraid that they might deal with more situations in life by hiding. And I wouldn't I wouldn't want to teach them that lesson. So I can see where you're coming from, and I think if that were the case, I would make sure that they have opportunities to be out there in the public, because if you are getting bullied and your parents bring you back, I would really be concerned that people would learn that that's how to deal with their problems, is to hide. And I don't think that's a good way. And that's my own opinion. That's not the truth. It's just how I feel about things. All right, Poke Girl Bros. I'll answer what I'm doing this summer. So I am probably going to be doing some tutoring. I am probably going to be doing a ton of videos. I'm going to be working on some, probably not as much vlogging, but I definitely want to drop some serious level music videos. So the Gucci Gang video, I'm trying to have, like, you know what? I'm just going to say it. There's 19 people watching here. I'm nervous saying this because when there's this many people watching, they start holding you accountable. So, but then again, in my book, I do say that getting held accountable publicly is important. So one of the things I would love to do this summer, I had a lot of fun making the Gucci Gang remix video. I honestly feel as though I could be creating a fun parody, goofy, mathy, inspirational, all the above type music videos once a week. Now that's gonna probably be remixing, not so much original songs, as I still have some skill to develop in terms of original songs, but remixing is coming fairly easy to me. This morning on my ThinkShare podcast on Anchor FM, for those that use the Anchor app ever, it's like similar to YouTube, but it's just podcasting, and it's small, and it's they're not that long. They're like 5 to 15 to maybe 20 minutes. I shared that I'm going to be starting working on, for anyone that knows Icon by Jaden Smith. He's been quite inspiring for me. Icon itself, the song, not the biggest fan of, just because I don't feel like Jaden is an icon. I think he's a pretty awesome dude, but I'm going to be remixing that because at first I didn't want to ruin the song for myself, but I realized it's pretty catchy. It would be pretty easy to remix because I'm just a teacher living, and that's it. Like teacher, icon, they're 2 syllables. It's too interweavable. You can't not remix it when it's that easy. So yeah, I'm going to be doing, the goal is to have a ton of music videos this summer. Hey everyone, hi Meme and Dev Gang, Sleep Master, hi, hello. My personal opinion is it really depends on your motivation. If you want to bubble your kids, it's probably not the best. Yeah, I agree with that, Michelle. What do you need? All right, answer that question. I'm trying to get down to the current ones. HR Dev, I agree. How should I come out to my mom, says Bleach. Bleach, I'll get to that one in a minute. There are a lot of styles of homeschool. You evaluate your own style, your results you want. Agreed. Sarflake, congrats on 1K, road to 2K. When can you monetize? I'll also answer that one in a little bit. Hold on, let me write down a couple of these. So one is coming out to mom. How to come out to mom. One is monetize. Shoot, there's another question in there. No, there wasn't. Thought only evangelicals homeschool their kids that can control the diet of science. Paul, I don't know if that's true. Hello, that daily vlogger. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. I mean, I've heard of plenty of people that homeschool their kids that aren't necessarily religious, but that is true. You could control the science. How should I deal with hate comments? Oh, I love answering those questions. How to deal with hate comments. Homeschooling can work, but there needs to be an educational structure. Agreed. At least now there are homeschool groups, meet up events. That's true too. Daily vlogger, just ignore them. But please tell me you'll vaccinate them. I would definitely vaccinate my children. I believe in vaccination. It's just surprising that there's anyone out there that wouldn't believe in that. It just makes sense. I have an unbelievable immune system because I eat anything. Like if you drop food on the ground, I go by like the 10-second rule, maybe even if it's dry, 15-second rule. I have an unbelievable immune system. Just saying, I think vaccinations work. Just like introducing small germs to your system is probably good because it learns how to fight those. sort of like on a big picture scale, if you can fight small hurdles, if you can get over small things, you can develop yourself into getting to deal with bigger things. Homeschool's really good. Had dyslexia, would have to learn. Have never been caught up in school. She reads now, writes stories. My second son didn't do well at all. Interesting. For example, I got a comment that said, ugly ASHIT. I responded with, please don't talk about yourself on my videos. Is that good? I mean, all right, just because that one's an interesting. I would say, and Bleach, don't worry, I will get to yours. Blake, I would say that I would just egg them on, honestly. That's kind of how I roll. I've realized that in terms of YouTube and the algorithm, when it comes to YouTube, if you don't know the person, if they're just some random person that's gonna troll you, let them troll you. You know why? Because say they decide, I'm gonna go in depth on this comment, I'm gonna rip this person a new one, like they're gonna really turn it up. Say it takes them 3 minutes to write it, that's 3 minutes of watch time because they probably didn't pause it at the top. Maybe they muted it, but they probably didn't pause it. So 1 is watch time, 2 is comments. If you comment them back and keep fueling the fire, like on sometimes I've been like, people have called me names and stuff, but like, psh, that's all you got? Like, I would expect that out of a 6th grader. Come on, tell me what you really think. And I've lit on the video that's blown up for all of you, a ton of you that found me through that, why I have a pride flag in my classroom. That video went from 300 to about 3,000 or 4,000 back last September because I just started egging people on. They wanted to throw hate around, so I played with it. Instead of being offended by it, instead of huddling up and trying to ignore it, like, every once in a while they'd cut to my core a little bit, but you develop tough skin. Like, they can't get at you. Just get that dirt off your shoulder. Say, give me some more. Throw some more dirt on my shoulder. I'm just gonna brush it off. And I'm gonna ask you to dump some more on. It kind of fuels me, gives me some energy, makes me feel relevant. Look, if you don't have haters, then you're probably not making too much of a mess in the world. Then again, if you have an insane amount of haters, like over 1 billion, you might want to do some things differently or not. I don't know. Depends what your goals are in life. So I guess the other question would be, Blake, what are your goals with your channel? Do you want to you want more people to find you, and you're willing to develop some tough skin? Egg them on. If you are unwilling to have angry comments, delete them. If you want to leave the comments because you don't want to get rid of the comments, but you're not quite willing to have the tough skin of it yet, just don't comment to them. So it kind of all depends on your intention behind it all. Wow, 7 people dropped off. I wonder if it was something that I said. I looked at each child and chose per child's needs each year. Oh, I'm going to come back to Bleach's question. What are you doing? All right, I answered that one. There are almost 8 billion people in existence. If you die, it will impact a maximum of less than 100 people. Where is that? Is that answering something? Obsidian Peanut. I would probably agree with that. So yeah, somewhere, I don't know about a maximum. I mean, it depends on who you are. I mean, Gary Vaynerchuk dies tomorrow, more than 100 people will be impacted. If you're a CEO, if you are a thought leader on something, if you are a president, if you're the Dalai Lama, it's going to affect a few more people than 100. But for your average of the 8 billion, so the other 7.9 billion or so, yeah, about 100 people. What school did I go to? I went to school in Foxborough, Massachusetts. Didn't even get the award for most toxic attitude yet. I think I'd probably agree with that one. Blake, even get them responding. Yep. Answer, read my comments below, please. Yep. So Bleach had asked, how can I come out to my mom? So I'm no expert on coming out, as I'm straight myself. I didn't have anyone to come out to because I was not in a closet at any point in time. Maybe literally, but not metaphorically. I would ask you first, how open do you think your mom is to gay people? You know, is she the type that you'd be concerned about getting kicked out of the house? How old are you? Are you under their roof, and or are you 18? Do you have a job? And the reason I ask these things is because I think the ideal advice to give would be to just say it, be your unapologetic self, and hope for the best. And there could be consequences for that because there are people that are unaccepting out there that have a say in how things go in our lives. So if you're under 18, you can't support yourself. And if you were to get kicked out of the house because of intolerant parents, to be honest, I I would definitely get a second opinion. Besides, I would probably get a couple more opinions besides mine. Um, but I would probably say maybe consider finding some close friends or relatives that you know would be accepting and come out to them first. I think it's probably more important that you have some confidence about it actually, um, rather than hoping that they'll accept you. Because I really hate to say this, there's some really just unaccepting people out there, and you know I've seen it in the YouTube comments. People have said, you know, if I have kids someday that are gay, I'm going to disown them. It's disgusting and it sucks, and it's the world we live in. And I want you to have the best future that you can. So sometimes that means having a roof over your head and food in your tummy, and ride to school every day, even if you can't share who you really are. So that's what I would say to that is be careful. I don't know your specific situation. Maybe you'll share that in the chat. Again, I'm sorry. I know I'm a bit behind. All right, I think I'm getting close. I just came out to my mom as pansexual and gender fluid to my mom on Monday. Congratulations, Braden. Um, I'm curious how she took it, and I hope she took it well. I love ever since I've been introduced to the idea of gender fluidity and the kind of the idea that gender is not binary, but it's a spectrum. I just really love it because I think it points out the fact that you know, we have a lot of feminine and masculine sort of traits. And I said to my wife, and a bunch of you have heard this before, that I would say I'm, in terms of gender fluidity, I'm fairly flamboyant. I would say I'm about 80% masculine, 20% feminine. You're alpha male, like doesn't want to look feminine and refuses to cry. Those are your probably 100%ers, but it might be more about how they act than who they really are, because they might not want to acknowledge their feminine side. By the way, if you've been liking this video so far, give it a like. If you've disliked this video so far, and or if I haven't answered your question, drop me a dislike and be persistent. I did a solid monologue at the beginning, so I'm still catching up on the chat. Oh shoot, I just lost a bunch of them. Where'd it go? Where'd you go? Okay, thank you. Poetry book graphics should be released next week. Sweet. Thank you. Poetry book with graphics. That's awesome. Gemma wrote a poem, and she's going to be sharing it a bit with me, and I look forward to having her interviewing possibly Saturday. I still got to work that out with my schedule, and I'll be in contact with you about that, Gemma. Exactly, my comment did that. I've only missed one day. Oh. Earlier, I had said Michelle. I wasn't sure if she was daily or not, but she's only missed one day, so she is daily. Michelle, I would say, is similar to me. Just looks a little different, and probably speaks with a little less speed. I would say I talk pretty quick compared to her, but that's about the only difference. Very similar in nature in terms of like the things that we talk about, but similarly amazing. Sorry, I didn't mean to call myself amazing. How would being evicted from your home going to make you stronger? I don't know if that's a question towards me based on what I had said earlier. I was saying that I would probably have people not be evicted from their home if they knew that that was a possibility and that could happen. When will you release the giveaway winners? Ooh, should do that soon. Thinking. Let's see, it's the middle of the month. I usually like to find some kind of milestone. How about when I hit 1900 or 2000? I'm thinking the other channel just hit 2600. So ideally, let's do it when maybe either when there's but if there's 100 comments, then I'll do it ASAP because I got to start putting them into a hat and like shuffling them around and stuff. And I got to figure out how many books I can afford to send out this month. I hope that answers your question, Josh. Thank you for asking. That's a good reminder. Zach, that's a fair point. I didn't think about that. It would depend on the severity of bullying. Yes, I've been bullied before I was in high school. Sleep Master, I was definitely bullied as well. Thank you at DevCon. No, where did it just go? Every once in a while I'll hit something and then all of a sudden it'll jump in the chat. I don't know if it's just a lot of people are talking. How do you deal with the haters? For example, I got a comment on my, oh yeah, I already answered that one. Good. Music videos. Yes. Iconic. Thank you. I've been bullied in elementary school. Yeah. I mean, elementary school, I also got bullied. Middle school is probably my worst. Oh, I pray you're going to release the giveaway. All right. Answer that question. So, bro. Hey, Armani. The Space Queen was because it was because I am feminine. Do you watch Shane Dawson? I feel like he's very positive representation for the LGBT community. Shane Dawson, I know that name and I don't recognize it. I'm sure I've seen them before because I know a lot of people have invited me to check things out. I'm transgender MTF, so I relate, Braden. Glad you shared that, Maya, the Space Queen. Does that really help? I love Shane Dawson so much. Same. He's my icon. Oh, I should definitely check out Shane Dawson then. Michelle says, I actually don't vaccinate because my family teachers negatively to them. They have deaths in our family because of them. And they're older. We look at if they're going to be out of the country. Interesting. That would be an interesting topic to talk about, Michelle. We'll have to. I don't honestly know enough about vaccination to have a good opinion on it. Besides, it's been done to me, and I feel like it seems like it should work. Mel Blackburn released my spoiler. God BRB. I love watching Jazz Jennings, Team Two Moms, and Miles McKenna. Those must be other tubers. I'll have to check them out. I like all those people. True. Why do Christians use the Bible to justify homosexuality? It's not fair. Well, Sleep Master, the thing I'll say about that is the Bible is really interpreted over a long period of time. And for those that are very religious and really stick to the Bible, the one thing that I do understand about the Bible is that over the many years that it's existed, like there have been kings that have said, you know what, I want this to read differently, burn all the existing copies and rewrite it. And they've rewritten things. So honestly, I don't trust the bibliography in the back of the Bible because it says it's all these things Jesus did, and it doesn't cite all the work of all the changes. So it's a little bit concerning to me. And I think, so what I was trying to get for what you were asking was I don't believe in a lot of the teachings from it because I don't know what's been tampered with. Also, I think it's more powerful to sort of come from sort of within, like what feels right here rather than what a book says, you know? I don't get it either. Was supposed to say reactive, not teachers reactive vaccines. Can we Google Hangouts soon? All right, Blake. I'll have to double check your channel and make sure that you've done 21 days straight. I forget when it was that I invited you to do that, but it feels like it's been probably longer than 3 weeks. So I'll have to check on that. Feel free to keep commenting to remind me if you've noticed I've had a bit of an influx in comments. So it takes me a bit longer to get to things as it has been before. My inbox every couple hours is at about 10. Before it was just at 10 every day instead of every couple hours. So I'll have to make that work. Like, we're gonna hate people because of something they can't control. You're a bad person. Maya, I'm gonna say that a lot of us are bad people because I think we all have a tendency to judge people before we have the opportunity to really know them. So I think you gotta be careful saying that all those people are bad people, because I think a lot of people do it even more so by accident. Now, the people that are specifically saying it, speaking it, and are very, they know that they're doing it, I would say, yeah, I'm not a fan of where their heart is, and I think their heart's not in a great place. But I would be very careful I would say that's also generalizing to say that they're bad people, because I think we aren't all bad people, but we can train to do bad things that cause problems. So I would be careful in calling people bad overall. I would say it's a bit of a generalization, in my opinion. I love the news article. It says the Pope says to a gay guy that God made you this way and he loves you. Holy poop. That's great. I think I need to find that and probably make a video about it for the haters on those other videos, i.e. my mom doesn't mind the LGBTQ community. All right, Bleach, that's good. I'm going to be curious what you mean by doesn't mind. But in that case, it sounds like you might have a fairly straightforward opportunity. Told my close friend he was so nice, he understood me. That's great. I mean, if you think that there's acceptance on the other side of it and it will not turn into anything major, say go for it. I think it's important for us to be self-expressed and for us to challenge ourselves, step outside our comfort zones. At the same time, sometimes you just got to make sure it's safe. As long as it's safe, I think you're good. My mom still thinks people choose to be gay. Oh dear, it's sad to hear that. Oh no, lost again. No. Okay, there we go. Okay, I'm almost at the end. Just makes me sad. I don't understand people will disown their children over who they want to be. Haiti, I think they have strong opinions about the way things should be, and they've grown overly confident in those opinions and have disallowed love to seep in. That's the best answer I got for why that exists. Love my babies no matter what. Yes, love it, Haiti. My mom is fine, but my dad's side of the family isn't so. Well, Mr. Jankowski, sometimes that's what you have to deal with. I have a family member that came out, and part of the family kind of didn't accept it, but I think it was important for them to be able to see that, because when they realize that, they know who to stand close to when times get tough. I told my close friends, guys, yes, it's great mother attitude, yes. So things she totally said we haven't told her yet. I look forward to it. Yes, that's good. Getting close to the end. How old are you? I turned 15 this year. I do look different. Are you afraid of being kicked out? You get kicked out from my profile pic is Shane Dawson screaming. Oh, that's Shane Dawson. Okay. Shane's my father. My mom, but like Amelia Fart, please. Sorry to leave. Did we already discuss self-harm? Michaela Rogers, we have actually not. I've been trying to catch up with the chat this whole time. I don't know if she's self-harm. True, Paul. Yes. Would you ever homeschool if you ever had kids? Alex, I've considered homeschooling my children, and I am not settled on it 100%. I think there's a lot of value in being in school. Oh, yes, I'm so close to the end. So yeah, I don't know for sure if I would. I've definitely thought about it. It would also depend on the income that is in our household. If we could afford it, I would definitely consider it. I know I'm not the person that's going to teach my children how to read. I think that might be better for a tutor or someone that knows how to teach people how to read. I don't know if my wife would want to do it, so I would happily teach them math. But it might end there. I'd happily teach them physics, leadership, a lot of other things, but reading, She's like the LGBT. She says it. Okay, good. Yes, happily. A lot of fear creates the opinions. Yes, just come out. Sounds like she's cool, and how maybe she's already. I helped my friend out by playing her family's song called Crayons by Cupcake. Oh, yes, I have seen that one, Crayons by Cupcake. Someone told me to watch that the other day, and I realized I had seen it before. Came across a really good website yesterday, explains different parts of the Bible that people used to defend being homophobic. It talks about how translations and interpretations got screwed up. Yes, I agree with that. All right, so I'm caught to the end. Why don't I go ahead and I'll address that last part. So The Q&A started out, I wanted to address the things from yesterday, the questions. Also, just because I want to, if you guys want to ask more questions in the Q&A, this is what I'm going to ask you to do. Just so I can keep it up. And so in the chat, like I don't have to read through the whole chat, because I'm realizing that just took a super amount of time and I didn't get quite what I wish I could just go through comments. This is what I'm gonna ask you to do. You can either tweet at me or you can DM me on Twitter, and that's where I'll get my questions from. So if you want to find me on Twitter, it is Zach ThinkShare, at Zach ThinkShare. So if you want to ask me more questions, feel free to. I will have my feed open here so I can be aware of when people are asking me more questions. All right. I think that would be a more efficient way for me to find any more questions along there, rather than me diving in through the chat, because you guys are doing a great job talking to each other, and I don't want to stop that, and I don't want to slow the show down for other people that are not quite in there. Don't have Twitter. I guess you can DM me on Instagram. Also at Zach ThinkShare, can do that as well. I'll sort of check back in between. So last one, addressing self-harm. If a student were to come in and I saw, little cuts, like if I saw that they were cutting, what I would do is, well, there's a couple different things. One, I think it would sort of depend on my relationship with them. If I had a good relationship with them, like I talk to them fairly often, I'm not afraid talking with them. They're the type of person that might come up to me and, just for shoot the stuff, like just talk to me after class about whatever. I might address them directly and say, hey, like, are those recent? I'd probably start with that. I would also ask, I think self-harm it's certainly a challenging subject to talk about, because I think a lot of people that are engaging in self-harm actions are definitely going through some tough stuff. And I would not want to be a cause of that anxiety. I would want to help to relieve or help out the people that are having anxiety. So if I didn't know the person quite as well, one other thing I might do before I talk to them is try to get in touch with their guidance counselor ASAP. I might say, hey, to the guidance counselor, I noticed some cuts that looked fairly recent on this person. Are you or any of your department aware of this? And what I might also say is, I feel free to call them in and just say, hey, can you go down to guidance? And you can just say, a teacher noticed it. Because I think the dangerous part that could exist is if a student knows specifically what teacher is talking to guidance, that could be a loss of relationship. But then again, at the same time, really all depends where your relationship is with them. Like if a student said, yeah, like I did these recently, I would say, have you talked to anyone about it? Or are you in touch with a guidance counselor, therapist? Your parents know? I would start considering how to make sure I'm not the only person accountable for it. Because if I'm the only one that knows, then one, for my own, human self, that's scary, thinking that I'm the only one that could be responsible for if this person were to take self-harm to another level. And I want to help the person. So I'm going to say, on a selfish level, I don't want to be the only person that can help them. Two, on a really helping level, I want to look to see, do they have support systems? If I talk to a guidance counselor and said, yeah, we've addressed that. Someone also said that, I'd be like, okay, I can leave it alone. It sounds like it's in good hands. It's being talked about. It's current. It's relevant. People are aware of it. If they said, no, we did not notice that, I might say to the guidance counselor, what's your relationship like with that? And I might say to them, what do you think would be the best way to go about this? Should I ask them about it, or would you rather have me sort of refer them to the guidance office? I might also say, do you know if there's a teacher that they are very familiar with? because I think the best possible solution is to have a student that could be self-harming with a teacher, guidance counselor, and obviously a parent that really has a good relationship with them. I think relationships are the most important thing in considering how to deal with the situation of self-harm. Now, if you are a teenager and you have maybe a friend or someone that has been self-harming, um, I would similarly say, does if you're trying to find sort of a solution for helping them get help, I would say find out who knows, find out who they're close with. I mean, if you're a good friend and you're one of the few people that knows, you probably know what the relationship is like with people. But I would say don't have yourself be the only one. You know, if if part of the reason that they're really anxious and having a tough time, if part of the reason is because of a parent, obviously the parent's not the one you probably want to go to. Um, but then again, the parent is responsible for it. So some if as long as you keep in mind the safety of that person is the number one priority, then I think that you will always make good choices. Um, if that's your main intention, I think then you're in the right mindset. And I would say you want to get other people involved that are trusting. Ideally, that are people that ideally they're people that are responsible for the person's well-being, aka parent or guardian. Um, if not a parent or guardian, I would go to a guidance counselor. Is they're trained to really deal with those things. I have sort of I have a lower level training with working with students that at, talking about suicide, talking about self harm, um, and my main training is to find out how real of a threat it is. Like if the self harm, could turn into something more serious, like someone considering committing suicide, or if it's like honestly, I don't know a ton about cutting itself, but self harm in that behavior, ideally, I want to create a system for that person that will support them. There have been people that have been close to me before that have self harmed, that have been have thought about suicide, and the some of the important things were I had serious conversations with them, um, because I love them, and I told them that I didn't for their own safety, like I didn't want to be the only person. Like, if they're texting me like, hey, I'm having some really tough times here, like I need help and I don't want to call a hotline, like I wanted to have some teammates in that. Yeah. I wanted to have some support for them. So um I would definitely look for a small community. It could be family members, could be close friends. But you want to find a team, because if you've um, become the only person that's involved in that, that could be scary for their future, because you don't know the moment when they're really scared or something could happen and you're not available. You don't want to be the bottleneck of safety for them, if that made sense. So I feel like I've done. Uh, I feel like I've answered that question sort of. That's not what I want. I'm checking Twitter to see if there are any new questions. I'm not seeing any. So let's come back in here. They had a hotline, self-harm news. Everyone has a hotline to listen to. Yeah, I think I would refer someone to a hotline. I think if I didn't have a great relationship with them, because I don't know what their triggers are. I'm not trained to listen. I think the people on the hotlines are really trained to listen. I'd like to think I'm a good listener. At the same time, doesn't mean I am. So I those are my keystone sort of factors of addressing that. What's my relationship with them? Do they have a support system? how can I help create that support system if it doesn't already exist? If it does already exist, does the sport team know about what's happening, and what can we do to make sure that things are happening in that environment? Suicide rate is rising. Most of it is red flags being ignored, especially in the youth. I'm just hoping. Hopping also don't mind me. Hope you're all having a great night. Very chatty. Last please. Yeah. There's a LGBTQ outline. That's why I say it takes a village to raise a child. It trains you. You're communicative. Yeah. If you don't build concrete class, if I wouldn't be able to concentrate in your class if I was in it, lol. Thank you, Ampalang. Well, I hope that sort of addressed that. I was going to head out. The last thing I wanted to leave you guys with, not really a question, but something I'm sort of excited to share with you all. So I had shared with a bunch of you. One, I want to be making a bunch of music videos this summer. So sorry to, I know that was such a sort of a deep, serious topic, and I know I'm popping back out. Sorry for that. Hope I didn't give you a whiplash there. Ish Ellie, I believe that's a suicide hotline or a self-harm hotline that Sleep Master put on. So yeah, two things I just wanted to hit you with real quick. I'm about to head out, but one is I had said to you guys earlier, I started a James Smith Icon remix. Gonna sort of dabble about talking about being a teacher and about my life, etc., similar to Gucci Gang. And Jessica Oakley that just came on, she's probably going to be collaborating with me on there. So if you want to check out some sort of inspirational hip hop, she's a great place to go. I'm looking forward to creating some things with her, and I'm hoping that we'll be able to organize and be able to team up on this, as she lives a state away from me in Connecticut. And secondly, I wanted to say I'm very excited. Today I had a pretty long conversation with a new friend, Dewey. He has a podcast, and he's going to be having me on as a guest on Saturday. And he found me through the Pride Flag video, and he gave me a lot of compliments, but the one that really hit me today. So he said he's gay. He has a partner that he does a lot of hosting on the show. He's going to be bringing the show more to YouTube, as right now his channel is just a couple of videos. He's really interested in serial killers. So he has a couple of videos on that, but he has also a sort of a talk show where he talks about all things awesome. That is what he said. And he's going to be helping me do a little bit of monetization, helping me try to find some sponsors for this channel, so I can actually have a little bit of income through this. And I'm looking forward to his podcast. One of the questions I'm looking forward to answering on his channel is why, he said, given that you're straight, Zach, why is it that you're so supportive of the LGBTQA community? And I thought I had a pretty good story, and he's looking forward to hearing it as well. How would you react if one of your gay students confessed to you? Ann Palang, when you say confess, what do you mean? Like came out, or confess that they were self-harming? And this is what I want you to do. I want you to comment that in this or another video, or just to finish off your question there. But I'm about to head out because my wife should be coming home soon. I want to get dinner started for her. That's really great. I am Palang. I can definitely do a video on that. Say what you mean by confess. Do you mean as in confess that they're self-harming, or like coming out? Making positive decisions, you must respect. Thank you, Jessica. By the way, what do you guys think about this bow tie? So I'm gonna let Alyssa do this later. So the fun thing about bow ties, if you take these and you pull it, it breaks. But these are little bicycles, which I'm not actually that much of a fan of, but I'm a bigger fan of this kind of colorful part of it. And Blaine, answer that question so that I can go off, because I want to answer your question because it sounds good. Also, feel free to, if you guys have other questions that you want me to answer in live stream form, feel free to tweet them or DM them to me on Twitter, Instagram. Both my handles are Zach Thinkshare, ZachThinkshare, or you can email me at thethinkshare@gmail.com. Also, one of the things that Dewey, the podcast owner, said I should consider is, he said, I want you to get a P.O. box. And I said, why? Because he said, then people can send you stuff. And he said he has gotten some hate mail before, as he is gay. And there's just always haters, apparently. But at the same time, he said, I think you would receive some really awesome letters, and some people would reach out to you that would be really touching. And so I'm going to soon have a P.O. box if you guys would like to send me things. If you want me to unbox some stuff, I don't really do unboxings much, but if you want to send me a letter or something, if you want to send me a hat, feel free to send me like fun hats like this. I will wear them. If you want to send me channel t-shirts, I'll wear those too. Because come on, who doesn't like free stuff? All right. Okay. I will confess coming out suicide. Liking you anyway. Make the dinner. Okay. And playing. All right. Thank you. All right. I can answer that in the next one. All right. So if you like this, give it a like. If you dislike this, give it a dislike. If you want more, subscribe. If you like this and you think someone else might enjoy it, or you think someone else might enjoy finding me, introduce them to the channel or to the video. Thank you for watching. Stay weird, humans. Yoy!